Welcome to another That's What They Said podcast where we question the questionable lyrics of your favorite songs. Sarina and Scott Spinelli talking bad boy for life. P. Diddy in the house, not Sean Combs, not Diddy, not anything else that he goes by, but P. Diddy featuring Black Rob and Mark Curry.
Yes, the question that's on everyone's mind is, what happened to Mark Curry? Is there an APB out for Mark Curry? Where?
Is he related to Steph and that was the brother that just never made it?
Is that the Mark Curry that did Hanging with Mr. Cooper? You know, like where, right? I mean, that was that actor's name, right? Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Yep.
I believe that was Mark Curry. But yeah, the point is, Mark Curry isn't a particularly a big rapper in that when you go to the Wikipedia for this song, Mark Curry does not have a page. So in prepping for this, I was thinking, because I have a theory about this album and everything. We'll get into it in a second,
good. Okay.
But it just struck me, and it supports my theory, which I'll get to in a little bit later. But like Mark Curry is I was thinking, well, did he even have an album? I don't even think he had an album. I'm not sure he did. If he did, it is not on Wikipedia. And let me tell you something, I'm on Wikipedia. So everybody is on Wikipedia. You know what I mean?
Except for Mark Curry, who is featured on this album.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. We know Black Rob, we know Diddy's 5 names, and we know, I think he has a Wikipedia for all of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mark Curry, I'm like, who is Mark Curry?
Yeah.
Had no idea when the song came out. Still don't know now.
Yeah.
I will say, considering that this man who no one knows about, maybe Diddy didn't even know, this is one of the most like braggadocious songs ever made, Scott. Like ever.
Oh yeah, and that's okay. So that's part of my theory about this song. Right? So like, obviously, this album and this song, Saga Continues, is the album, right? The song
isn't also like a Wu-Tang Clan.
Saga Continues,
Yes.
Wu-Tang. Yes.
Compilation album. Yeah, I'm like,
look at you. We're training you to be a Wu-Tang.
I'm learning.
Aficionado. Only 47 episodes in. How about it?
Finally.
But yeah, no. So what's wild to me is this whole song, right? This song is about the excess and that they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
There's a song called On Top. The song is about how everything's going to keep rolling because in the last handful of years prior to this, Biggie had died. Mace left to become a pastor.
Right.
I want to say the Locks had either just left or maybe it was like, so Bad Boy wasn't what it was.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Yes.
And the interesting thing about this to me is that they clearly were trying to put people out there. Like Loon was out there, and Loon eventually became bigger with his appearances on I Need a Girl.
Yes.
And he eventually got in trouble with the law. Black Rob had already had one record out, but they're trying to grow him into the next star up for them. G-Dep, same thing. Mm-hmm. They had a little bit of success. But like, there is a clear line of demarcation shortly after this album where Bad Boy was not for life. Like they just
lied.
Not right. Like,
so put it out there, and then maybe we'll take a step back. And they took like a couple steps backwards.
Exactly. And like, yeah, he had Puff Daddy or whatever had other songs. Of course, this wasn't the only like. Since this point, he's had other songs. Yeah. But this is interesting to me that a song that's like, we ain't going nowhere. And then at the end of it, they're like, as a matter of fact,
we don't know where Mark Curry is.
Yeah. Mark Curry is not for life, as it turns out.
I mean, it's just so ridiculous. Look, and I'll say this, like, I love this song. Diddy, this was a time when, he was kind of going into his next phase, you would say, like he lost his friend. He's trying to keep, the music thing going.
Yep.
I believe the song came out, around the time that I started high school in 2001. The Bronx was booming. Like it was a soundtrack to my childhood. And it was around the time that he started dating J-Lo. So like, it was just like, he was out there. This was like a big time for Diddy. But yes, to your point, like what... You might have gone a little too far on the bragging side of things because no one, I don't know if you're gonna go, oh yeah, we're the same, but no, you're not, because you're missing huge rappers that no longer exist. They either died, they no longer exist, they retired, and you're bringing in some like no name dude. I don't know. It's just, I'm unimpressed, my friend.
And to be fair, everyone's a no name until they become somebody, right? So
Sure.
you're looking
They
at
try.
Strike Gold, right? Like Mace was a huge hit.
Yeah.
You know, and Loon was from Harlem World, which was Mace's group. I believe they were either boys or whatever. Loon was
They
in
were in that
Harlem
clique.
World.
They were in the
They were the-
yeah.
Yeah, what Flip Mode Squad is to Busta Rhymes, Harlem
Yes.
World is to Mace, which is actually a sneakily slept on album, the Harlem World album. But neither here nor there. I it is just funny to me how like this song quickly like I remember I forget what song it was, but there's a Puff Daddy lyric where he says something like something to the effect of like, you know, a bad boy 25 years later and we won't stop or something. And I remember asking my brother as a child, saying, "Do you think that Bad Boy will ever like?" I didn't know. I was like, "You think Bad Boy will ever keep going?" I think, and he didn't know either, but he was just, you know, he said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah." And it is interesting how like these clicks were such a big part of our. You mentioned, you know, what we listened to as children growing up, like the soundtrack of our youth. That was a big deal, like those
Yeah.
clicks. And you know, whether it was Cash Money, whether it was
Yeah.
Flip Mode Squad, whether it was you know, D12,
They have
Bad
a
Boy,
song, "No One's Messing with My Click, My Click, My Click." Like, I mean, there are songs about clicks.
and it just seems like that whole thing just kind of went away, and
Yeah.
none of them. That's the other funny thing. None of them were
Because
ever like,
Drake is on every song. So,
yeah,
like, all clicks ended when, "Oh, I'll be on that. I'll go on that song."
yeah. And I think at a certain point they all just were like, that's better for us anyway if we all just do, you know, work with more people.
Be friends.
Yeah, it's yeah, and obviously, yeah, the whole you know,
Tupac, Biggie. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
exactly.
We gotta squash that.
But now that I'm thinking about it, it's interesting that like no clique would ever have a crew called like there was never a song called like Rough Riders for the next 4 years, right? Like that was never they were never gonna like there wasn't gonna be a Rough Riders anthem wherein like Drag On or DMX or Eve say like we're hot, but we won't be for that much longer.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't put a stamp, like, I'm thinking, like, in the next again, we talked about this, God, the skater rapper,
Lupe Fiasco,
thank you. He was the only one that's like, I'm only doing 3 albums,
and he lied too,
and then
though.
he did.
He's still making more albums. That's another thing. We'll get back to the song eventually, but that is one thing with rappers that I am so tired of. Logic did it a couple of years ago, where they say they're retiring. Jay-Z has done it multiple
Yeah, yeah,
times.
yeah.
And I know Jay-Z is like quasi-retired at this point. I heard some interview where he was like, "Yeah, I'm not done, but like if something strikes me, I'll do it, but I don't feel the need to come out with an album." J. Cole said he's done. Chance the Rapper was going to do this album before they'll announce because they get in these creative flows and they'll be like, "All right, here are my next 3 albums," and
And
then
then
that never
that's it.
happens. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's something completely different, or they're not retired. It's like, you know what? Just how about you just release the thing and then don't only tell me about the next thing that's coming out. Enough with the whole yeah.
You're right, because like, even Rihanna, like, that chick hasn't put on any album in forever, but she's never been like, "I'm retired from music." She's
Yes,
just doing other stuff. We're all
yes,
wait, hey, you're gonna put on some music? I don't know, I'll just perform all the songs I've had at Super Bowl, but
yes.
no one's saying no, she's not retired. There's
And I'm not even sure who that's for because like
yeah.
when a guy like Logic retires, and I'm a fan of his, anybody who's a fan of his knows he doesn't stop. Like he constantly is creating stuff. I remember saying to somebody, and not like being funny about it, I was like, if you could bet on this at like a sports book, in 18 months or under, like an over under when his next album comes out, I go, I'm hammering the under because there's
Yeah.
no chance. There's just no chance.
Yeah.
Like it's insulting almost. And so to that point, to bring it back to the song at hand here, I don't blame him for being overly confident
Yeah,
in
you're
his
right.
record label's chances. It's not to say that Bad Boy folded or anything. You know, it's just more like, you know, it's it's hard. It's like, you know, you're being your most braggadocious when the ball is on the downward bounce, not the upward bounce.
Yeah, yes. And to that point, it's funny you say that because you think like Bad Boy Records, like it was all under his P. Diddy. He went from Puff Daddy then to P. Diddy, then he kind of switched to Diddy, or Sean Combs. I don't have his order of names,
Yeah,
but
no one does. Yeah.
um, but it is kind of funny because he was in this transition. He had to hype up as much as possible. And then I'm like that when and then what happened? Like the saga continues, the album, was the only album from Bad Boy Records under P. Diddy. Like, and then it just
Oh
was
yeah,
like,
yeah. Well, the name thing of his has always been, and we'll get to the music video, but one final thing is that,
oh
like,
yeah.
in the long run, when you're cleanup hitter, when LeBron James of your team leaves, the Cavs were not good afterwards. That wasn't just a coincidence,
Yeah.
right? Like when Biggie died, that was it,
That
right?
was your, yeah.
That's it. I mean, that's really the end, right? Because like they're all like there's a bunch of other really good players on the team,
Yeah.
but
That's
this
a
guy
that's
was
a good
this
analogy.
guy was the attraction. Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving are still good players.
Yeah.
Just 112 and Mace are good players,
Mhm.
but they're not. I mean, the guy you're coming to see is Biggie, and we were robbed of him after
Yes.
only 2 albums. So if he's
Diddy
around,
kind of thought that he was like the bit. He thought he was Kyrie. Hey,
yeah,
look what happened to Kyrie.
exactly,
Like, bro,
exactly.
you ain't LeBron, bro.
You're not. Very few people are. A lot of people
Yes.
think they are, but very few people are.
Accurate. Second single from The Saga Continues. And yes, we talked about it. This was sort of like to represent, how things haven't changed. This is The Saga Continues, because despite losing your LeBron James, your big name guys, Biggie, Mace's departure, things were a-okay. Do you have a Denver nug for this?
I don't
Because
have any more Denver Nugs. I have a lyric. That's one of the
okay, cool. I just want to note, and we can talk about it more in the video portion of this, but like Farnsworth Bentley is in the music video, and I forgot about this guy. And I got to tell you,
Get a moment.
he is like one of the most fascinating dudes on the face of the universe. He was known as like P. Diddy's chauffeur, sidekick, whatever you want to call it, held an umbrella for him and all that type of crap. But I didn't realize, I looked into it. Bentley is credited as a songwriter for
Oh,
tracks on the album Yeezus, like Kanye's Yeezus
ah,
album.
maybe that
Uh,
explains why that album sucks so much.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's credited as a songwriter on Black Skinhead, I Am God, Hold My Liquor, On Sight. Um, I was like, this man is still around. Like, where did you come from? What
Yeah.
you were? He's always
I,
like in the
I
background
think
for
he
some
had a
reason.
solo album.
Yeah, he did. He had a solo album. He was also featured playing violin in the Yes We Can music video to support Barack Obama's 2008 presidential campaign. Like, he's sort of like
all,
that
all over
fly
a
that
Renaissance man.
doesn't.
A Renaissance man.
Yeah, I was like, wow, well done. The single reached 33 on the US Billboard Hot
Yeah,
100.
that sounds about right.
Yeah. Let's lyric this
So
sucker.
my first lyric is the very first lyric of the song, or I
What
should
is with
say,
you?
yeah, or I should say the very first, lyric of the first verse,
Hello, sound engineer again.
which is, yeah. So, you're talking about that. Okay, so yeah, you do yours first. Go ahead.
He says, "Hey, yo, you ready? Let's do it." And I wrote, we just went through this. This
Yes,
is another conversation with the
I
sound engineer.
don't get it why that's included. It's not even. Yeah, we know you're ready to start the song. You want to know how we know? Because
He's
we're
a
listening to
producer.
it. Because we're listening to it.
Sorry, now you can start the actual first
Yes, well,
part.
that's where it should start, right here. The first lyric is, "I'm the definition of half man, half drugs." And I just wanted to say, no, you are not. And thank God you are not, because you would be in serious trouble, Puff.
You
That is
look
not how
awful.
it. Yeah. you know,
Your skin
you're not.
complexion looks too good for that.
Yes. You look, frankly, in too good of health to be half man, half drugs. Sorry.
Yeah. And I was like, that's a lie. Ask the club's bad boy. That's what's up. Like, oh, so we should call clubs. Hey, just wanted to confirm.
Hi, I'm calling on behalf of Sean Combs. We're just curious, what's up? And they go, oh, bad boy. Bad boy. That's what's up. Okay. Got it.
Well,
Clear.
whatever, brag about. I mean, unless you're taking like drugs like Viagra. I'm like, well, it depends on the drug, I suppose. But
I mean, it's just such a bizarre. Also, his image hasn't been about drugs in so long. That,
no, he
like,
went to Mount St. Michael High School in the Bronx, a very lovely establishment for a private school for men.
And
Get
he was
out of
he
here.
was never that guy. Like, so like his
No.
whole thing is like, right? Like he's a showman and all that stuff. But the notion of him as some sort of like drug kingpin is ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
Sorry.
And it's part of the whole Puffy thing of just like, come on, man. Just stick to what you are. Don't pretend to be something else.
Correct. Well, I mean, the saga continues.
Yeah.
We still hear you rocking with the best. Don't worry if I write rhymes, I write checks. I would kind of worry. Like, please write rhymes. This is your
But
job.
he doesn't though. I mean, that's no, he does not. And that is, I actually thought this was the coolest, maybe the coolest line he's ever had written for him. Ironically, I'm sure someone wrote this line for him, but I do think it's like the Eminem and 8 Mile thing where he goes, I know everything this guy's about to say about me. I am dumb. I am an Uncle Tom, or my boy Future is an Uncle Tom. I do have a friend named Cheddar Bob who shoots himself in his leg with his own gun. That whole thing when he calls himself out about everything. That's what I love about this. He's like, don't worry about it. Yes, I do. I don't write my own shit, but you know what I do? Write checks. And I love how in the music video he signs his name on the screen. I always thought that was a cool little touch.
You're right. He doesn't. What am I giving him credit for? You're a producer. You just that's a
great one. And he's a great one, but yeah.
Catchy song. Catchy song. Go ahead. You had another lyric.
I have another lyric, but it's actually non-Black Rob's verse because, again, first off, rest in peace to Black Rob. But secondly, I thought Black Rob's verse is honestly just good. But the Mark Curry verse, what I wanted to talk about was the line where he says, drop that beat. Can't believe that IMC. Bad boy till the casket drop. Gotta love it. Place nothing above it. It's on like that. Don't believe we ain't gone like that. We're always going to be here. And I was thinking to myself, little did he know that almost none of that would be true. like, I mean, going down the list, when he says, can't believe that IMC, actually, you're right. I truly cannot believe that you're a rapper.
Right.
If you're hanging with Mr. Cooper guy, I would believe that more. Bad boy to the casket drop. Okay, unless he died shortly after this taping, that's the only way that that's accurate, because there's more likelihood that Puff Daddy dropped him, not that the casket dropped on him.
Yeah, accurate. Yep.
Place nothing above it. It's on like that. Don't believe we ain't gone like that. In fact, you were, and we're always going to be here. In fact, you're not.
You're not. You're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a Mark Curry verse too. It says, ain't shit changed since the Notorious. See, everything's still glorious. We still got warriors. We still be the victorious. I'm like, no, everything has changed.
Everything has changed.
What have you missed? Maybe that's why you got cut from the group, because you were like, Mark, not paying attention.
It's also a weird thing. Why is everyone pretending in this song? Like, who
changed.
cares? That yeah, what does it matter that he's gone? It's like, no, it's a huge deal. Like,
you might as well have leaned into it. Like, hey, we hope that we're still good with 2 of our members missing. Like,
best of luck to everyone involved.
Well, we got these new guys. One guy's called Mark Curry. We don't know where he's going, but like, no shit. Everything changed. Everything changed.
I mean, we have a few minutes left here. Do you want to talk music video?
Yeah. So this music video takes place.
Music video is excellent. I think.
I sent it to you earlier because I was like, wow, thank you for this. Thank you, Ben Stiller, for showing up.
Did you remember this video?
I sure did after I rewatched it. Wow.
Because when you sent it to me, I was like, no. I remember this happening because it was funny, and it's still funny now. I think the Ben Stiller cameo is obviously really funny, but even Puff Daddy at the end of the video after the party, when he said, there goes the neighborhood because Crazy Town's in, and then Mrs. Johnson shaking that ass, like that whole thing was funny.
That was fantastic. It takes place in Perfect Town, USA. I was like, oh, okay. One thing that I had a note of, besides like all the cameos, Travis Barker, Shaquille O'Neal, Snoop, Ben Stiller, the list goes on.
Baron Davis.
Yes, thank you. Diddy dances with his arms.
Yes.
He doesn't.
That's a good call.
Doesn't dance. And I know that he helped make the Harlem Shake like that much bigger during his time, but when he's on the roof like dancing, like there's a leg kick, like there's nothing in his waist. No waist movement from Diddy.
Like a what's it called? Like an Irish what was that Irish
Irish step dancing?
Yeah, Irish step dancing. What was that play that was on
Oh, a Lord of the Dance? No.
no, that's not it. I'll look it up. But yeah, the other thought I had about it was I'm not gonna be able to find the name of this Irish dance.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. The point is that the point is that I also thought it was funny in this that so there's this one scene where like he's playing basketball with his new neighbors.
Yes.
He brings Shaq in.
Yes.
And Shaq, he throws a no-look pass, which was awful, to Shaq, and then Shaq dunks, and then he's like chest bumping with Shaq, and I just thought that was like a really weird thing because it's like if you had me and Shaq, if Shaq today against 3 people, yeah, we should win. Like, yeah, like he's like bragging about that they beat these 3 randos. It's like no, they were supposed to.
You cheated at the game. That's like playing kindergartners like on a basketball court. Like I got next. I know. But hey, really... you gotta celebrate the wins. The saga continues. Final thoughts on Sean Combs, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy.
Riverdance.
Riverdance. Final thoughts on Riverdance.
So basically, what to your point, Puff Daddy is like would be perfect in Riverdance.
Yeah, he just does this.
Yeah, but he makes it look cool.
He does.
I guess that's my final thought is that this is Puff Daddy's ultimate skill is that he has that unquantifiable cool factor, right? And so he can put rappers you're not aware of at the time, or maybe that never become that notable. And if the beat is banging and the lyrics are cool, like he just has and I still think he kind of does have a cool factor. Like if you knew that you were going to a party that was hosted by Puff Daddy, even though he is not relevant musically anymore, it's still a cool thing.
Yep, you're right.
Cool, and I think that's what this song is about.
If you can get on a Billboard list at 33 with a guy named Mark Curry, on your record, kudos to you. You beat the system. So you're right. We shouldn't actually make fun of Diddy at all for any of this. You should be like, that's impressive. Way to drop a beat. You won with Shaq. That wraps up another episode of That's What They Said. Catch us on YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes, and we will see you on another time.